Welcome to Jesse's Flying, and this video, or better this video series, will be totally different than the videos you might have already seen here on my channel. This video series will be a video log about my way as I'm trying to completely switch from Windows into the Apple ecosystem on macOS with the Apple Silicon. Therefore, I got myself a Christmas present a few days ago, the brand new MacBook Pro with an M4 Pro chip. But I'm using Windows since, I don't know, 25 years at least. And there are so many use cases that I'm used to do in Windows, like general Windows usage, archiving, encryption, audio production, video editing, and gaming, for instance. I do a lot of gaming when I have some spare time. And so I'd like to try to transition all these use cases into the Apple ecosystem. But I don't know if that works, what challenges I will face. And so I invite you to just join me on the way. So if you haven't yet, I would recommend you subscribe to my channel and click the bell for notification and be active during that video log. Just if I find a solution, maybe you have a better one, maybe I don't find any and you have a solution, or you have some other suggestions and maybe my ideas are just kind of stupid. So give me comments below the video, or better, join my Discord server. Link is also down in the video description, and I will do a separate channel about that video log here, so we can all discuss about different problems, challenges, solutions, and better solutions on the way to try to transition from every use case that I can imagine from Windows into the Apple ecosystem on an Apple Silicon chip, and see if Apple is ready to just make me or us forget Windows, or if there are some things where we say, okay, that doesn't make any sense. And maybe there are some other solutions like parallels where you can emulate Windows. Maybe you need that for some use cases, maybe for some of your use cases. Or if you just get a PC, install Windows, and stay in the old Windows ecosystem and just save your money so you don't need to buy an Apple Silicon. So this first episode obviously will be about hardware connection, hardware setup. I have a monitor, I have keyboard, mouse, some other devices I'd like to plug in, like my controller for audio production and so on. So let's set up the MacBook Pro and let's see what else you might need, like hubs, cables, adapters, whatever. So let's go. So what's my setup right now? As I have a MacBook Pro 2019, which actually is from 2020, it's the latest version of the MacBook Pro, but the model name is 2019. It has a 9th generation Intel chip and an AMD Radeon 5600 mobile graphics chip, a dedicated graphics chip in here. And I have a very nice and easy way to plug everything in here, and that is one Thunderbolt cable, USB-C, that goes into the MacBook Pro, powers the MacBook, and just gives all the other connections to an eGPU. That is that big box here behind my monitor. Let me just get this a little bit out of the way. And that is an eGPU. That's basically a case with a power supply where you put a graphics card in it. So there is a Radeon Vega 56 that just gets its air here from the mesh, but there's also in the back a USB hub. And as soon as I plug it into my MacBook, the MacBook gets power, and the Radeon Vega does all the graphics because I connected the monitor to the eGPU via mini display port. And I have USB for the keyboard, for the mouse, so this is all connected via USB. I have a transmitter for my headset. The receiver for my headset is plugged in there. And if I would need some more connections, like for my controller for the audio production, this is just USB-C. So I still have 3 USB-C Thunderbolt ports free with the MacBook Pro 2019. And if that is not enough, I also have an adapter that you put into the both USB-C ports, where you have USB-A 3 times, HDMI, another Thunderbolt port, SD card reader, and an Ethernet adapter. So this is all the connectivity I have right now, but with the new MacBook Pro, which is Apple Silicon, Apple doesn't allow eGPUs. So the eGPU is useless right now. And so I have to use the M4 Pro chip and its integrated GPU for gaming and everything else. It should be fast enough, I hope. We will see that later on when we try gaming. But right now, the MacBook Pro only has 3 Thunderbolt 5 ports, USB-C, SD card reader, so I don't need this adapter with the SD card reader anymore. But HDMI is also on the MacBook Pro right now, so I don't need this, but there's no USB-A. So all the USB-A cables have to be changed or used via USB-A to C adapter to use it on the MacBook. And it only has 3 ports. And another thing, I can't use this anymore. Let's check it out why. So for the MacBook Pro, there are 2 USB-C ports. This is the audio jack and the MagSafe power adapter. On the other side, you have the USB-C port, you have HDMI and the SD card reader. So I only could plug this adapter. Okay, I don't need the HDMI anymore, I don't need the SD card reader anymore, but there's still Ethernet and 3 USB-A ports on that. I could plug it into here as the distance of the 2 USB ports still fit. So I can plug it in here, but then you can see the MagSafe port is blocked. That is in here. So I cannot use this when I have the MacBook Pro connected to power. Yes, you can just unplug the power, you can use this, and then you have Ethernet. I don't need Ethernet up here, I have Wi-Fi, and you have USB-A. But if you want to do anything with USB-A, I want to have this connected still to power. So this adapter is more or less useless for the new MacBook Pro. So either I get all the cables as USB-C cable, and then I have 3, like 2 on this side, 1 on the other. I have 3 connectors simultaneously, or I need to get like a Thunderbolt or USB 3.0 hub, where you just plug it into one Thunderbolt port and you have maybe a short cable and then a hub where you can plug everything else in. What connections do I need for hardware-wise? I have to connect somehow my monitor. The monitor has HDMI input, has mini display port input and USB-C. So I didn't try that yet. That's the first thing we will do right now. But the mini display port should always be included in the Thunderbolt. So if you have a USB-C to mini display port cable, you should have a signal. And I think that's the Samsung Odyssey G8 monitor. I think it can also deliver power for the MacBook Pro, but nevertheless, as we have the MagSafe, I can just plug it into the MagSafe and have it constantly on power. that would be, I think, the most easiest way. And so I think I could just have a cable mini display port to the USB-C port, Thunderbolt port here, and it should have a video signal. And I think there's also USB-C, if you plug this into the other port, that there's a USB hub in the monitor. So let's check the monitor out and let's see what kind of cables came with the monitor and if we get it connected. So that is what it's looked behind my monitor. The monitor has a power plug, then a mini display port, a micro HDMI, a USB-C where there's also an input sign on that connector, and a regular USB-C. So I think that if you connect it via USB or Thunderbolt, that it can act as a USB-C hub, but with only one USB. And I will try just to connect it via USB with my Thunderbolt cable. So that is the eGPU, and behind here it has 4 USB-A ports where, for instance, the receiver for my headset is plugged into USB-A. That's another thing. I cannot plug into my MacBook Pro because it doesn't have USB-A. And keyboard, mouse, all plugged in by USB-A. It has an Ethernet adapter. I don't use that. And it obviously has the Thunderbolt input where all the info went through that Thunderbolt cable. So I'm going to try to plug this now into the monitor USB-C input port. And now take my MacBook and plug this into the MacBook. I'll just turn the monitor around so we can see what happens. So let's plug it in. And let's see if the monitor gets any signal. Now it's connected to HDMI, that's wrong. Connected devices, I don't know if, there's USB. All right, so allow accessory to connect, yes. All right. So this looks at least as if I can just, I can get with the mouse pointer over here. So let's check what resolution the monitor has, if that looks good. So the USB-C connection works, obviously. So let me just start the recording here, that you can see what I'm seeing here on my screen. So the first thing is that it's being charged. So obviously there comes some power through that USB-C port. So I don't need the MagSafe to have it plugged in all the time, which is good. And then let's go to the display settings. Where I go to displays, it says built-in display and the Odyssey. So it recognizes my display correctly, and when I go to the Odyssey, it has 120 Hertz with the full resolution. And let's switch on HDR. All right, that works also. So that looks like a perfect connection to that monitor, which is nice. The built-in display is the XDR with a ProMotion refresh rate, so it has a variable refresh rate. That looks very promising, that I only need one cable again to have it with 2 displays. And as the monitor has a USB-C port in the back, maybe I can just plug a USB hub there, a USB-C hub, and connect like mouse, keyboard and everything there, so I don't have to plug it into the MacBook every time. But first we can try to connect an external hard drive on the USB port and see how fast the connection is. So here I got my external NVMe USB 3.0 Gen 2. So let's connect it to the MacBook Pro directly. And I downloaded Blackmagic Disk Speed from the App Store, the speed test app. And let's see how, oh, that's the wrong hard disk actually. We gotta check the target drive and we use the external SSD. And let's see how fast it is directly connected to Thunderbolt 5. So we see the write test is about 450 and the read speed goes up to 675. Maybe we do another turn to see if that remains the same, because it always changes due to the sessions. So 675 write, 680 read. So when I stop this and we eject the external SSD and I connect it directly to the USB hub on the monitor. Let's see if it shows up here in the MacBook, if that USB hub is working. There it is. And when we go to the, no, we don't need this one. We go to the speed test, select the target drive, and we still have the external SSD. Let's start the speed test again. Okay, the write speeds are quite lower. Okay, 85, 75. It gets lower and lower. So that's definitely not a USB 3.0 Gen whatever hub, because it's reaching about 50 megabytes per second. Okay, I think we can stop that. So that USB hub at the monitor might be useful for mouse, keyboard, or headset or something like that, but not for an external drive. So, but as the USB connection is working, I might try that adapter nevertheless, because I would block both of the USB-C Thunderbolt connectors on the left side and the MagSafe charging port. But as the MacBook is getting power through Thunderbolt, I can use the Thunderbolt connection here, and I have 1, 2, 3 USB 3.0 Type A ports here. So I could connect keyboard, mouse, and the receiver for my headset, that's all USB-A, via that adapter. Maybe I get another one later with maybe a short cable that has a more variety of adapters, because I don't need the SD card, because the MacBook has an SD card slot, and the HDMI out is also not required, Ethernet not either. But let's try it. If I just unplug, let me check if there's anything mentioned here for the, no, can just unplug the monitor, plug this in, okay, and now I plug the monitor back into the Thunderbolt part. Let's see if that works. That looks good. And now I can just plug in my, that's the keyboard. Let me check this out. And the mouse is over here. Plug that in also. Okay, let me check if the mouse is working. Okay, allow the accessories to connect. We allow these accessories, and it asks for a keyboard setup assistant. identifying the keyboard to the right side of the shift key on the left side of the keyboard. Shift, this one. Okay. All right. So, oh yeah, there's my mouse pointer. So mouse and keyboard work, obviously. And now I gotta check if my Logitech headset works. Let me put this in here. If there is anything, it doesn't ask anything. My headset is here. Let me switch it on. And when I now go to the volume, there it is, G533 gaming headset, and that should work. When I just play any sound here, let me check. We go to sound. Yes, it does. Awesome. So right now everything looks quite easy. I can connect my wireless Logitech headset, keyboard, mouse via USB Type A via the connector. The MacBook Pro gets charged and has the video connection via USB-C. The monitor can do full resolution HDR, either 120 Hz or variable refresh rate between 48 and 120 Hz. So everything's fine and that looks awesome. So I think that's for the first part. Let me just clean everything up a little bit and put it as it should be. And I'm not quite sure yet what the next topic will be. So if you haven't yet, I would recommend you subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications so you don't miss the next part of my video log. And let's make it a surprise what the next topic will be. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon. Bye bye.